November elections, we have some breaking news of a major shakeup happening at the Bexar County Elections Department. County Elections Administrator Jackie Callanan leaving her position.
Yeah, just about 30 minutes ago, that announcement came after the County Elections Commission wrapped up a meeting. Our John Paul Barajas is downtown at the Bexar County Courthouse with the details on this big announcement. John Paul.
Steve, Myra, 19 years as the Bexar County Elections Administrator, and Jackie Callanan is getting ready to step away. At the start of this meeting at 4 o'clock, there was public comment. 10 people came up, all with criticism for Jackie Callanan and her role as an elections administrator. A lot of it came for more transparency, better communication, and wanting to see a higher voter turnout. After that wrapped up, the board went into executive session. It only lasted about 45 minutes before they called us back in, and they announced that they unanimously accepted Jackie Callanan's resignation, but that is not effective immediately. She will be here throughout the November election. Take a listen to what she had to say.
To start what we finished, I'm very, very proud of what we've had. And this year is going to be contentious, as we've seen just from the national media and national. And so it would be a blessing to be able to complete this and give the citizens of Bexar County a clean election like we've always done.
Now, the Bexar County Elections Board says that they are going to conduct a national search for her replacement. Jackie will remain in her position till January 1st, and they do believe they'll find a replacement by that point. But if they have not, she will continue as her role as Bexar County Elections Administrator. Steve, Myra.
Thank you, John Paul. Of course, we'll have much more on that announcement coming up on the Night Beat tonight at 10. We also continue to follow the indictments against former law enforcement stemming from the mass shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde just a couple of hours ago. The Uvalde County Jail released charges for former UCISD police officer Adrian Gonzalez.
Yeah, let's walk through some of the key points of that indictment. Court records show that Gonzalez is charged with 29 counts of abandoning and endangering a child. That's 19 more counts than the former district police chief, Pete Arredondo, has been charged with.
Yeah, the 29 counts represent each of the children killed in the shooting and the ones who survived. We also know Gonzalez was set at his bond set at $10,000. He has since bonded out.
So what can we expect from these indictments?
Daniela Ibarra spoke to an attorney who defended a client who faced similar charges in a separate school shooting.
Family members of the Robb Elementary shooting victims say the last 24 hours have been a step towards accountability. This afternoon, Adrian Gonzalez was booked here into the Uvalde County Jail. We know Gonzalez was at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022. His service record shows he had been with the Uvalde CISD Police Department for less than a year before the shooting. His record shows he had 44 hours of active shooter training. Uvalde CISD officers have been criticized for how they responded to the shooting. His former boss, then Uvalde CISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo, was booked and released yesterday on 10 counts of child abandonment/endangerment. Their criminal cases are just getting started. We spoke with Florida attorney Mike Eiglarsh. He helped acquit the school resource officer who was accused of staying outside during the shooting in Parkland. Eiglarsh says the body camera video of this response will be crucial for their cases.
Prosecutors are not going to have a difficult time being able to show that things could have and should have been done differently. What the defense has to do is say perfection is not realistic. In those tense moments, you're going to make mistakes, but that doesn't equal a criminal offense. That's going to be the argument.
The families of the victims say they're glad someone's being held accountable, although they were hoping for more indictments. We reached out to Uvalde County District Attorney Christina Mitchell to ask about that, but her office declined to comment. In Uvalde, Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
We are also learning tonight that the attorney representing Adrian Gonzalez is San Antonio defense attorney and former Bexar County DA Nico LaHood. LaHood sent us a statement this afternoon saying, quote, "It is very early on in our representation, so we will be working to acquire the evidence the government is relying on in this accusation. Mr. Gonzalez's position is he did not violate school district policy or state law. The application of this statute to law enforcement under these circumstances is unprecedented in the state of Texas. It will take time to evaluate these allegations and the underlying facts." End quote.
Right now, a Bexar County jury deliberating the punishment of a woman convicted of a deadly DWI. Closing arguments in the trial of Samantha Castillo took place this morning. The jury began deliberations about 11:30. Castillo pled guilty to hitting and killing bicyclist Beatrice Gonzalez earlier this week. Castillo faces anywhere from probation to 20 years in prison.
An East Side apartment complex is getting some extra attention as part of the city's plan to tackle violent crime. San Antonio has already been sending officers to so-called hot spots, having them sit with their lights on to try to make people think twice.
Yeah, now our Garrett Berger tells us the city wants to try tackling some root causes with the Rosemont at Highland Park apartments as its test case.
Because it costs.
Dee Stewart has lived here at these apartments on Rigsby Avenue in Clark 2 years, though she's not sure for how much longer.
So it's a decision to be made if it don't get better.
Happy to be here on behalf of our research team at UTSA.
UTSA criminologists who developed San Antonio's violent crime reduction plan analyzed data including crime incidents, violent and warrant-related arrests, and violent calls for service. They picked 5 locations ranked among the highest in those categories, and from there, picked the Rosemont.
It was the only location out of that top 5 that ranked in the top 10 for across the 3 metrics.
UTSA professor Michael Smith says violent crime in urban areas is often highly concentrated. And he says there's a connection between crime and what criminologists call disorder.
So you heard talk about a homeless encampment that's nearby. You heard talk about dogs that roam freely through the property. Youth who are not in school.
The city's plans for the next phase include connecting people with services, addressing roaming animals, regular cleanups of a nearby homeless camp, more street lights, addressing code issues, and working with the complex to repair or improve fencing, lighting, and cameras. Residents we talked to like the ideas.
When you see this list of recommendations or ideas, what do you think?
I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anything stand out in particular?
The stray animals.
And some told us things are already better than they were. Now it's time to see how much better they can get. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, did we hit triple digits today?
Looks pretty close.
Oh, it was close. Almost. We almost did it. I don't know why I'm excited that we almost did it. Oh, we almost did it. No, 99 was our high temperature, and we had a few showers far east of San Antonio along the coastal plain in the typical locations near the Gulf Coast this time of day, this time of year. And this is that kind of activity we've been talking about can pop up at any point, any afternoon going forward. 99, that was our high temperature. The average is 93, the record 103, set back in 1902. Check out Del Rio making it to 103, even Eagle Pass triple digits, Cotulla 100. Everybody else, high temperatures in the 90s as we go into the weekend. 98 tomorrow, 96 the high on Sunday. Sunday, a few extra clouds, trimming off just a couple of degrees, and also a slight chance of a few showers far south of San Antonio. We'll be back to track the tropical moisture and how close it's going to get to us, along with a new tropical depression out in the Atlantic and where that's headed in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Adam. Let's check out traffic right now. Let's go to I-35 at San Marcos, and you can actually see traffic very heavy. It looks like that's the southbound lanes of I-35. You can see downtown there in the background. Traffic heavy, but it's moving smoothly in both directions.
Well, it is the weekend, and stop us if you've heard this before. That means traffic closures on the northwest side at I-10 and 1604 once again. RJ Marquez has the details and an update on this ongoing construction project.
Well, unfortunately, we are set for another round of closures on the far northwest side, that being the Loop 1604 expansion project. And earlier this week, remember, TxDOT kind of laid out the plans for the rest of this summer. That included 3 weekends where we were going to see no closures. Unfortunately, that will not be the case this weekend, as we have some pretty significant closures to let you know about right now. So let's get to the key points here. Basically, 1604 eastbound, that will be closed all the way from La Cadena Parkway over to Lock Hill Selma. 1604 west, that will stay open throughout the duration of this closure here, but unfortunately this weekend we have both directions of I-10 that will be shut down. I-10 east and westbound right there at the interchange, that will be closed starting late Friday night, 9 o'clock, going through 5 a.m. on Monday. And of course, they have actually been clearing some of this construction out a little bit earlier. So hopefully that will be the case. We have some drone video to show you right now. This is fresh drone video just to show you the progress that we're seeing out there at the Loop 1604 North Expansion project. You see that one flyover there that's going from 1604 out there to I-10 West for all of our folks that are going to be going up to the Bernie area. But again, I-10, both directions will be shut down this weekend. 1604 eastbound, that will also be closed. So we do have a pretty significant closure here. If we come back out to our maps real quick, and again, we have all these details on KSAT.com, and you can find the full schedule there that TxDOT is laying out for the summer on our website as well. Have a good one and stay safe, everyone.
Still ahead here on the news at 6, it's not always easy to find a doctor. So how a local hospital is planning on dealing with a future potential doctor shortage.
But first, let's take a look outside with live cam. Obviously, we have another hot weekend ahead. Adam's also watching the tropics, the arrival of African dust. We're going to be right back with his full forecast coming up.
The city's search for a new ACS director is still ongoing. Coming up tonight on the Night Beat, we're taking a closer look at this process and asking the community what they want to see out of this leadership position.
The Association of American Medical Colleges predicts that by 2036, the U.S. will have 86,000 fewer doctors.
Patty Santos visited with a residency doctor at University Health to see how they're dealing with these critical shortages.
How are you feeling today?
Okay, doctor.
You feeling okay? Good.
Christopher Anastos, a third-year resident at University Hospital, knew from a young age he wanted to be a physician.
I got into this profession knowing that I was going to be in debt, and that's not a factor in me pursuing this career path. Absolutely not.
He says it's an honorable profession that takes a decade to finish and years to pay off the debt.
Usually, for these loan repayment options, it's usually about 10 years.
But Anastos, like other future graduates, are also highly pursued by firms for jobs all over the nation. Sometimes it's a matter of picking who can help them pay the debt sooner.
We got so many offers from, I remember California, places like Montana, Dakota, Ohio, all over the nation.
Ultimately, Anastos decided to join University Health System.
The decision to choose what specialty they're going to practice in is truly influenced by the loans that they have.
Dr. Monica Kapoor is head of the physician practice group at University Health. With some graduating students walking out with $500,000 debt, her job is to lure them with incentives.
We are building an infrastructure to support our physicians and APPs to ensure that they just not choose us as a preferred place of employment, but they stay with us.
Some examples of those perks: stipends or a loan repayment program for those who choose to stay after graduation, and a promise by companies to invest in technology to reduce burnout.
We offer a great benefit package to our physicians and advanced practice providers now because they are an integral part of a solution to this physician shortage that we are experiencing.
Anastos says his wife is also in the medical field and has school loan debts. Both have a lot to consider when they decide to stay or go.
Nice talking to you today, okay?
Thank you.
So, if you have any other questions for us, just let us know.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, turning to the forecast now. No surprise, it's going to be a hot weekend, but we've been talking about this dust arriving over the weekend.
Have you seen the social media, like the sunrises and the sunsets, like the last few, like 24 hours?
Yeah, that's a perk of it, right?
They've been very nice.
They're more vibrant, yes. More vibrant, kind of like when we had the smoke in the air. Now, the smoke, that was just also extra hazy and kind of annoying. But the dust gives us the vibrant sunrises and sunsets. Isn't quite as annoying, if you will, in my opinion. I do want to start with authority radar. We had a few little showers south and east of San Antonio along the coastal plain. Typical activity for this time of day, this time of year, especially as the sea breeze moves inward from the Gulf of Mexico. And these showers can make it all the way into Hallettsville, Cuero, Yorktown, Kennedy, and locations in between. And actually, you look at the accumulations, not all that bad. Just north of Victoria, between Hallettsville and Victoria, we actually have about 2 inches of rain estimated by Doppler radar there. So some decent accumulations within some of those downpours. At least somebody's seen a little bit of rain. We do have light amounts of dust right now, but I want to point out that this more dense area of dust will be in the Gulf of Mexico tomorrow, and it's going to make it here by Sunday. So if you thought the sunrises and sunsets were vibrant now, just wait until Sunday and you'll notice it even more. Unfortunately, we'll also notice more of a haze in the sky, especially when you look off at a distance. When you're at a really high point, like our big flyover ramps looking off into the distance, you'll notice that haze and a bit of that brown hue to the sky. All right, here's a look at our satellite imagery for the tropics, and you see this activity here in the Caribbean Ocean. This activity, that's just a good area of moisture that we could use, kind of like what we got last week when we tapped into some of that tropical rain and energy. Unfortunately, upper level high going to steer that away from us and keep it south. So this batch of moisture slides into the Gulf of Mexico and gets as close as the Rio Grande Valley to us on Sunday. But by and large, we're going to miss this. It's just going to clip parts of the Rio Grande Valley. And there could be, I mean, we're talking a 10 to 20% chance of showers south of Highway 90 on Sunday, but the good moisture, that's far away. Otherwise, just some of those coastal pop-ups at 10%. So just a few isolated showers there. We have another system we're watching, but now we have to go way out into the Atlantic here, and we're talking the central Atlantic. See this swirl that's come together? We were talking about this yesterday and its likelihood of developing. It's our new tropical depression number 2, and this is going to be strengthening, likely into a hurricane as we get into the latter half of the weekend and early next week. It's likely to strengthen into a Cat 2, I think at least a Cat 2 hurricane, as we get into Tuesday timeframe moving into the Caribbean. Now, what it does after Wednesday, see Wednesday near Jamaica, after that, it's anybody's guess. If it affects the U.S. or parts of Mexico, we won't know until we get into next week. So that's something we'll watch. Ideally, we could get some leftover showers from it. Right now, it's still up in the air. 79 in the morning tomorrow, 90 at noon, 98 the high, but when you factor in the humidity, feeling like 105 to 109. And going forward, we trim off a few degrees on Sunday at 96 for the high temperature. That's to account for a little extra cloud cover in the morning. Otherwise, upper 90s and right near 100 as we get into the next week. Even for the 4th of July, we're looking well into the 90s with those heat index values a little above 100 degrees. So it's that time of year, hazy, hot and humid, and now soon to be extra hazy from the African dust.
Hey, Kasky, we have to tell you something.
Yeah?
During your forecast, you know how you fired off the confetti cannon to celebrate Ursula's retirement at 5?
Absolutely.
A couple of little pieces just fluttered down on
Aww.
The effect is still happening out here.
The gift that keeps on giving.
I had to dodge it because I didn't want to get it in my hair. All right, so coming up in sports, we're going to talk about the second day of the NBA draft and if the Spurs general manager liked the 2-day draft. Larry has sports coming up.
Same suit, same pants, different socks, same shoes. Everything was the same but my socks.
Socks are not lucky.
No, socks are unlucky. I had to change them. I was like, I need to change these socks. I want to hear my name called.
It's a good call, right? After not hearing his name called on day 1 of the NBA draft, Harrison Ingram changed his socks on day 2 into work because the Spurs drafted him in Big Board Sports. All right, All Sports Fitness Gym just north of the airport is the home to pro athletes who want to stay in shape during the offseason. Owner Bebe McClinton's dojo welcomed home Steel alum and Indianapolis Colts cornerback Jalen Jones this week. Jones is going to his second season with the Colts and told us how his body is feeling after a week of working out with Bebe.
Oh, man, I mean, I'm feeling good. I feel better, you know what I'm saying? I feel like every time I come and get some work with Bebe, it's great work. Every time I roll through here, I just know, like, that week, I know that week meant something, and I hope every week means something, but it's just different coming here, like I said, being back in the roots, man, being back here at home. He's the reason why I'm here.
Jay was selected in the 7th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. He entered his rookie season 4th on the corner depth chart. He was thrust into the starting lineup following injuries to 2 other guys, and Jay finished the season with 44 tackles and 5 pass breakups in 17 games. But we wanted to know his thoughts on that cold weather up in Indy.
I Oh, it's different. I was about to say every day, even on like 90-degree days, it's a breeze. You know, it don't really feel like 90. 90 here is totally different. You know what I'm saying? We might get 106, it feels like. So it's different, man. And then in the winters, you know, it's crucial. I done been through -6. So I'm talking snow, blizzards, storms, ice built on top. Like it's ridiculous. But man, like I said, man, it's nothing short of a blessing to be, you know, up there, you know, doing what I love to do. So.
Jalen is already back in Indianapolis, getting ready for the Colts training camp, which starts on July 25th. The French men's national basketball team started practice today as they get ready for the summer games that start in late July. This clip shows Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama showing off their dunking skills. The French preliminary roster is loaded with NBA talent such as Gobert, Wemby, Nicolas Batum, and Evan Fournier. They will not be an easy out, that's for sure. So the NBA draft was 2 days this year for the first time ever, and the league did this based on feedback about the NBA draft format from basketball executives around the league, and they feel teams will benefit from being able to regroup between rounds and having additional time to make decisions during the second round because the time expanded from 2 minutes to 4. Spurs general manager Brian Wright was asked if he liked the 2-day draft.
Interesting 2-day setup, but it's fun. You get a chance to strategize a little bit more time to talk to other teams. So we got a little sleep, but not much.
So overall, the final verdict is you like the 2-day affair?
Yeah, it's different. I think it'll take some adjusting, but I think it's an interesting wrinkle. And each year it'll get a little easier and a little better, but it was good.
You can go back to 1 day for a player's standpoint.
I would go back to 1 day for sure. for sure.
Yeah, for guys selected in the second round, like Spurs draft pick Harrison Ingram, waiting that extra night, had to be brutal.
Yeah, I cannot imagine.
Yeah, so I mean, NBA teams may like it, but I don't think the players do.
Who's going to win out?
Probably the teams.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So.
The owners, all
the ones writing the paychecks.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of takeaways from last night's presidential debate. We're going to talk about those in our KSAT Q&A coming up next. A lot of reaction, a lot of takeaways, and a lot of questions after last night's presidential debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. We're going to dive into a lot of that in this KSAT Q&A. We are joined by Javier Oliva, Professor of Instruction, Department of Political Science and Geography at UTSA. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Professor, your takeaways from last night, and first off, what did you think about the format? Where they took down the mic on the other candidate when one was speaking and then vice versa and no audience?
Well, it was very different, right? Obviously, it controlled the candidate's ability to convey their message. You didn't have the excitement of the audience. You didn't have the interruption of the speakers. Even the moderators did not interrupt so much as to go on to the next question and didn't allow for a lot of that rebuttal. So it was kind of straightforward. It was an opportunity for the candidates to really lay out their message, what they want for America for the next 4 years. And unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of that.
That's what I was going to say. We didn't get a whole lot of that last night. Does this change the race, in your opinion, what happened last night?
Obviously, I think the concern leaving last night was that, particularly in the Democratic Party, that they feel like their candidate didn't perform up to what they hoped. And to dispel these accusations that he's not mentally fit to serve as president. It is the hardest job in the world to be the president of the United States and leader of the free world. And it takes a toll on a president. So I think last night, people were saying, can we win with Joe Biden? And do we have to make a change? But that doesn't mean that Joe Biden doesn't believe he can serve. And I think he does believe he can serve. And there's still plenty of people who will support Joe Biden and will continue to support him in this election.
And, he came out with that speech today admitting he had a bad night last night, and he seemed like a very different Joe Biden than what we saw last night. What do you make of that in just the hours after that debate?
Well, I'm not sure it really served him well to hunker down for a week to prepare for this, because it didn't look like it was a 1 week preparation, right? So unfortunately, I think he just needed to relax and be himself, and that just didn't happen. I think he was trying to find one-liners and attack a very skilled debater in Donald Trump. It doesn't mean that his message is palatable, but it's something that he's very aggressive when it comes to arguing and debating, and he just didn't have the ability to respond back. So I don't think that most people today feel that an opportunity was lost, right, to confirm his future for the next 4 years and to really call out a lot of what Donald Trump was saying last night.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who said that Trump didn't as much win as Biden lost last night. And like you said, in an opportunity and in what he needed to say and things like that. A lot of talk about Democrats going a different way, that Democrats trying to maybe have a different candidate than Joe Biden at this point. Do you see that happening? And what's the mechanism to make that happen?
Well, really, the mechanisms with the DNC and the nomination of ultimately at the convention, at the national convention, in order for that to happen, it would require that the delegates themselves would have to remove their support for who they're sent to vote for through all the primaries that we've had. The Democratic Party supported their incumbent president, and so it would be very, very difficult to change the rules to not support the candidate. It would have to be the candidate themselves that would have to withdraw from serving as the nominee for the party, which would put the party in a situation where now they're scrambling as to who they would nominate.
It wouldn't automatically be Kamala Harris?
No, it would not, because this is a party's nomination for the ticket. The ticket is with Kamala Harris, and it would be different as if he was to become disabled or unable to serve as president of the United States. Kamala Harris would then serve, but not through the political process.
Yeah, I think that has been a question today. And there has been so much focus on the president's performance last night, questions about his fitness for the job going forward. But for Donald Trump's part, do you think that he did what he needed to do to benefit his campaign last night?
Well, the fact that he wasn't able to interrupt as much probably helped him. The fact that there wasn't an audience that would get him unraveled probably helped him. But a lot of his content is the typical Donald Trump discourse, right? Everything's in extremes, the greatest, the best, the worst. And it almost becomes numbing to hear this over and over again, that he's either the best or, President Biden is the worst. And those extremes just sometimes just stop playing. It might play to his audience when he's at a rally, but to the American people, to a national audience that really has hope for the future, hope for this presidential election, which is representative of our democracy in America, we did not get from either candidate the expectations that inflation is going to go down, that housing costs are going to be more affordable, that costs of food and groceries are going to be done. How are we addressing our foreign policy? How are we addressing the immigration policy? How are we serving the compassionate people who come into this United States for the same thing that we want, right? A future, a bright future for our children. That's what we wanted to hear last night. We didn't get it from either party. We just found out one has a bad golf swing, that 6 handicap is really unrealistic.
Yeah.
That's funny, but that's not what we should having a national debate on.
The numbers were in from last night, and obviously tens of millions watched, but the demographics show that there weren't a lot of young voters watching. How dangerous is that, particularly for somebody like Joe Biden? I mean, if you're a Democrat, you need the youth vote. How dangerous is that to show that maybe, there are not just youth, there may be a lot of people that are just disengaged with this whole thing. They don't like either candidate.
Well, that's a great point and a good question because, at UTSA, we have thousands of students that are looking for their future. And they're looking at financial aid situations, they're looking at job opportunities, they're looking at buying their first home and things like that. And they find it very difficult right now. And so I think that creates that disenchantment. But that has to do with our economy. That has to do with what we're facing currently coming out of the pandemic and really starting to address the concerns that were caused by the pandemic. So without that vote, which is traditionally supports blue Democrat votes, that would be difficult for on battleground states for Biden to win if the young vote doesn't come out to vote for him.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do your students say that they watch traditional debates? I know there was some discussion about that. Is a debate format kind of outdated now with all the different platforms in which people can, put their information out there?
Obviously that people get news information on a regular basis, many times a day, but I think that we still like to see these events. They're important for us to rally around. There were parties last night. There were gatherings at restaurants and hotels and people wanting to watch it together because there's this united spirit that we hope that America will be better with one of these candidates. And what we're hearing is, I really am not real pleased with either one of them, but we have to choose one.
Yeah, you saw two men. I mean, it's usually two candidates standing on the same stage, sharing what their vision is for the future. That is a tradition of democracy, especially in this country. But those visions weren't really part of the discussion last night. And that's why I'm wondering if more people are getting turned off by this process.
Absolutely. Obviously, it's a personal thing between the two, right?
Yeah.
They're both attacking each other on a personal level. Both of them have, issues, and those issues are what voters have to decide what to set aside. Are they going to go ahead and vote for a president who's been indicted and convicted of a crime? Are they going to vote for a president who may not finish his second term in office? Are they going to vote for a president who, has established his term in office, and now he's running on his record? 4 years ago, Donald Trump ran on his record. It was a little different.
Yeah.
Many people thought that possibly that President Joe Biden was going to be kind of like a pass-through. He was going to guide the party into the next generation of leaders. But him wanting to run again, I think, became personal when Donald Trump announced early that he wanted to get the job back.
And right now, Joe Biden's showing here comes another. That means it's time for us to wrap up. When the confetti falls, it's time for us to wrap up.
But right now, off the stage.
Yeah, right now Joe Biden is showing no indication that he's going to step aside.
Viva Ursula, viva Fiesta.
There you go.
There you
KSAT
go.
12.
Yes.
And thank you guys very much for all y'all.
I enjoyed this discussion. Thank you.
It was great. Thank you. And thanks for putting up with our weatherman's confetti.
Absolutely. He timed it perfect.
Yeah.
Javier Oliva, we appreciate your time, and we will be right back. Clean up on aisle 12.
Yeah. we have little confetti surprises dropping all over the studio, which is, it keeps us lively on a Friday.
So normally I say, that's the gift that just keeps on giving, right? And sometimes I clean up, right? And Will was helping me. But there's always a few that you don't see above you.
Yeah.
That then come fluttering down. And they're memories. That's the way I see it. Every time you see a piece of confetti, remember that time? There we go. All right. 97 right now at the airport, 96 Castroville, 98 Converse. Dew points, though, right at 70 degrees. So we're feeling the mugginess and the heat, and that makes it feel like it's 106 for the temperature officially in town. We're going to talk more about what's happening in the tropics and our newest drought monitor in just a bit.
All right, are you ready for the weekend?
Yes.
I am.
Me too.
Yeah. Kasky?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's working. That's why he's not that excited
that's
about
right.
it.
You're working this week.
Whatever, I like being here too. So no big deal.
I know.
But yeah.
You get a break every once in a while, though.
Sorry, I didn't mean to touch a nerve there.
You did.
Adam, I'm sorry.
We're good.
No,
You sure?
That's what he says.
Yeah. You sure you didn't mean to?
This time I didn't mean to. Usually I do. This time I didn't mean to. This time was an accident.
I don't care. I wear a thick suit. We're good to go. All right, I want to get to our newest drought monitor. Unfortunately, not much an improvement compared to the last one, despite the rainfall that we had last week. It just wasn't quite enough where we needed it, particularly along Highway 90 and into the hill country. But you go southeast of town, not even abnormally dry. So it's really just a mixture of drought, of basically feast and famine. Feast along the coastal plain, famine as we get up into the hill country. Want to talk about the African dust, the Saharan air layer headed our way. It's already overhead a little bit, but it's going to be more noticeable in the sense of a thicker haze in the sky and the sunrises and sunsets being even more vibrant by Sunday all the way into the early part of next week as the more dense plume of dust moves into town. 98 degrees the high tomorrow, feeling like it's about 105 to 109. Southeast wind at 10 to 15, really more of the same temperature-wise. We trim off a few degrees on Sunday to account for a little extra cloud cover that's going to be thrown our way from this tropical moisture and energy in the Caribbean right now, where we have this X. This is where we're watching a batch of moisture, and it would be ideal for us to get this. It'd be another dose of tropical rain, but unfortunately, the vast majority of it will be passing south of our area. It will clip the Rio Grande Valley, yes. Parts of deep South Texas will get clipped by some showers, but for our purposes, we have a 10% chance, maybe a few splash and dash showers south of Highway 90, and that's about it. Otherwise, you see this good soaking rain moving into Mexico, and we miss out on it. We also have some of the stray coastal showers the next couple of days, kind of like what we saw this afternoon. They can make it into Hallettsville, Cuero, Yorktown, etc. That's where we can sometimes see some of those showers. Here's the big picture in the tropics. It's starting to heat up and get more active. We have our newest tropical depression, Tropical Depression 2, that's headed westward. And throughout the weekend, it's going to strengthen. And into next week, middle of the week, it's in the Caribbean as a Cat 1 or Cat 2 hurricane. It's something we'll watch and see where it goes from there. 97 right now, feeling like 106. Patchy fair weather clouds and a little bit of a haze off in the distance. But again, as I mentioned, that's going to be even more noticeable in the days ahead. Very sticky again, especially to start the day tomorrow at 79, 90 at noon, 98 the high temperature. But 98 Devine, 97 Bulverde, 96 in Tarpley. More of the same summertime heat that we're feeling. And going ahead into next week, hey, we need to talk 4th of July. It's going to be the typical sweaty 4th of July weather around here where you'll want to try to find a neighborhood pool or something to hop into. We're looking at 97 on the 4th of July, so more of the same.
All right, thank you, Adam.
Rocket Man suits and astronaut suits. It'll be a blast coming up in the Buzz. To the Buzz, and this week Elton John launched his Rocket Man resale auction on eBay. Should be relaunch. Anyway, to raise money for his AIDS Foundation, fans of the superstar could grab a piece from his Atlanta wardrobe for as little as $26.60.
Okay, if you're wondering why the price is so specific, it's a nod to the Peachtree Road address of John's previous Atlanta home. If you'd like to own a piece from that collection, you'll have to hurry up and bid, though. The auction will only be up for 10 days.
Maybe some sunglasses.
Yeah, I bet there's some really good pairs.
Yeah.
A small step for space fashion, meantime, isn't going to happen as planned. NASA says it's canceling its $100 million contract with Collins Aerospace for new spacewalk suits. That company is a subsidiary of RTX Corporation. It's a longtime NASA partner.
Yeah, NASA says it wants a new suit designed by 2026, but says both parties acknowledge Collins can't deliver that quickly. The design for the iconic puffy spacewalk outfits that astronauts use is now more than 40 years old.
Time for an update.
Yeah, needs some new threads.
We'll be right back.
Obviously hot and humid through the weekend and into next week, and 4th of July next Thursday, and it's going to be our typical warm, humid 4th of July. Not much for showers, just a few possible far south on Sunday.
Thanks, Adam. And thank you for watching the news.
See you on the Night Beat at 10.